on this feature-length episode of Mythbusters. Strap in for a high-flying, rocket-powered, adrenaline-fueled joyride.
Here comes chaos.
Because the team mash metal in 4 fables of automotive mayhem.
Wow!
First, Adam and Jamie feel the need for speed. Will a city bus flip at 50?
Hey, no guts, no glory.
And the original Compact Impact
3
is revised and supersonically supersized.
Holy crap!
Then Cary, Grant, and Tori find out if a luxury car can really drive faster than gravity.
This is gonna be nuts.
And finally, do these silver screen chase scene cliches match up to reality? So get on board the Mythbus.
Jumping in mayhem, hijinks, horseplay, and destruction. Step on.
Because this is the Demolition Derby Special.
Uh-oh.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
I love results.
And Jamie Heineman.
I'm not so sure this is a good idea.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
We broke some stuff.
Joining them, Tori Belleci.
Let it all by.
Grant Imahara. And Carrie Byron.
Well, we may not have had hand grenades, but at least we still have good chemistry.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Excellent. I see everybody got the message.
Yeah, dress for Demolition Derby.
So what exactly is going on here?
You're gonna love this. Tell them.
Well, it's the...
Mythbusters Demolition Derby Special.
Sweet.
I know. Give them the details.
Well, we've got...
4 myths about smashing, trashing, and crashing cars, buses, and trucks.
Nice.
To do this, we'll be using...
Helicopters, explosives, and rocket sleds. What?
Okay, charades, Mythbusters style. You gotta name the movie and the myth. Here we go. Oh no, there's a turn coming up. What am I gonna do? Everyone move over to this side of the bus.
The movie is Speed, and it's the bus turn.
Absolutely right. However, it's more specific than that because Keanu says to everyone to move to the inside of the turn. So the myth we're testing is that that bus at 50 miles an hour would roll over unless all the passengers had moved.
Okay, well, let's see. Got large objects moving high speed, danger, crashes, mayhem. Let's do it.
I thought you'd be up for it.
Yeah, we got a hard ride coming up at the construction site.
1994's Speed is an iconic motoring movie.
Can't make that turn.
Everyone on this side of the bus now.
In this key scene, our hero supposedly prevents a 50 miles an hour flip by redistributing the passenger's weight. But did science really save the day? Or is this another case of fake film physics? The myth centers on moving the bus's center of gravity across to the right-hand side for a sharp right-hand turn. So Adam and Jamie are going to try exactly that. And then, to find out if redistributing the passengers saves the day, they'll attempt the same turn with an evenly distributed load.
The cones leading into the distance behind me describe a highway. Not an actual highway, but a theoretical highway that we have built to imitate the one in the movie. A single lane turns into 5 lanes, and that is the course that we have drawn with cones. Next stop, the myth-busting zone.
In the movie, there were 19 people on the bus. Now, 19 people adds up to a lot of weight, and that weight is going to very significantly affect how the bus behaves when it goes around a corner. Look at that spin. So we're going to simulate that weight with barrels full of water, and in this case we've got 7 barrels Each barrel is going to weigh in excess of 450 pounds or so. We've got 19 people worth of weight.
And that's it, because this first test will simply recreate the scene from the movie.
Oh, this is like stunt fantasy camp, man.
With the passengers on the right-hand side, as per Keanu's instructions, we'll find out if, at the all-important 50 miles per hour, the turn can even be made.
Have fun. Oh, I will. See you later, buddy.
If it can, the guys have their baseline reference. If it can't, it'll flip, and Adam will be trapped inside.
Okay, Adam, I guess we're good to go whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go. This is for glory.
Despite all the safety precautions, there's tension, nerves, and a whole heap of excitement in the air.
20 miles an hour. Dude, I can't believe I'm getting to drive a bus like this. 35 miles per hour.
He's cranking. He's got the pedal to the metal.
49. 50 miles per hour. Okay, I'm ready to make the turn. Here it comes.
He's getting airborne in the rear there.
I did it! I won!
Spot the excited Mythbusters.
Yeah!
Despite the protests from the tires, the bus made the turn. But just like the movie, only just.
Oh, I cannot even tell you what an adrenaline rush that is. To actually make the turn from the movie at the right speed, in the right bus, with all the weight on the inside of the turn.
Good job.
My heart was pounding. And that's a result. Did we screw up the shot? Can I do it again?
Surprisingly enough, on Adam's run, the movie physics lined right up. They moved all of the people to that side of the bus, which is what we did with the barrels full of water, and the bus didn't tip when it made the turn.
So after flirting with the flip, things are looking up for the film fable.
Yeah!
But where to next?
My successful run proved that the turn we see in the movie is in fact possible. But is it because they redistributed the weight? We don't know, and that's the next thing we got to find out.
Okay, what do we got to smash?
We have a 4-course menu of demolition and destruction. We have cars, of course. We got a fruit stand, we got a fence, we got a semi-trailer, and an RV.
Yes, we are testing Hollywood crash cliches and whether they're anything close to reality.
Okay, like the chase scene where they drive through the fruit stand and everybody's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, or like in the 70s cop show where they bust through the chain link fence.
And if you can drive through an RV like it's not even there.
Like in Mad Max.
Just like Mad Max.
Okay, well, what's the semi for?
Instant convertible.
I love that one. That's where the truck comes across the road, there's no time to stop, the car drives under, cuts the roof clean off, but the driver's unharmed.
This is gonna be fun.
So in the real world, would these crash cliches really look like this? And would you really drive away unharmed?
So how you guys want to test this?
I think this is pretty straightforward. We just set up the obstacles just like in the movies and hit it with a real car and see what really happens.
So we're gonna radio control some cars?
No, let's go back up to the guys at E-Tech. The tow system's already in place and it went so well last time.
Good idea. Less work for me. What's first?
Fruit stand! Melons, anyone?
It's a 70s cop show car chase favorite. A spectacular fruit stand drive-through that leaves driver and car completely undamaged. And where better to test the reality of a car crash than E-Tech, where last time the team hit, repeatedly, a moose loose on the road. But this time, out goes the animal, and in comes the rotten fruit and vegetables.
These are going to be our fruit stands. This is for our classic car chase scene.
Which way to the destruction? The car drives into the fruit stand, vendor jumps out of the way,
Fruits and vegetables go everywhere.
and then it just keeps right on driving. What we want to know,
If you do crash into a fruit stand, would you be able to continue the chase? My feeling is you're gonna smash up your radiator, your car's gonna overheat, and you're gonna stall at the side of the road and the cops are gonna catch you.
Hope no cars come crashing into my fruit stand.
Probably shouldn't have set it up there then, because real soon that's going to be a high-speed pursuit highway.
For this test, we're going to have the car going at 70 miles an hour because, let's face it, this is a high-speed chase, and you want to be going as fast as you can and be able to control the car. So that's why we're picking 70 miles an hour. So this is the setup for our first Hollywood crash test. This is the tow vehicle, which is going to be pulling our crash vehicle on a 2-to-1 pulling ratio, which means when this vehicle gets up to 35 miles an hour,
This car will be going 70 miles an hour. It'll be towed straight down the track by a cable all the way to the end where it'll release.
And hit this fruit stand in a spectacular way. But will it be Hollywood spectacular?
All right, this is Hollywood crash test into the fruit stand in 3, 2, 1, go.
20, 40, 50,
Oh, crap.
60.
Oh, my God.
Was awesome. Talk about a tossed fruit salad.
Yep, the spray of fruit and vegetables was very Hollywood. And you can see why it's become such a crash cliche. It makes for good TV.
That absolutely lived up to Hollywood spectacle. It was beautiful.
But in reality, did the car make it through unharmed? And was it able to continue its car chase?
I think even if you did make it through the fruit stand, you can't really see so well out the windshield. Look at all its smushy fruit smoothie.
Well, unlike the windshield, the answer seems pretty clear. Lots of heavy produce on a real-life, sturdy fruit stand is a significant and dangerous obstacle.
Cool.
Okay, well, now that you've seen the footage, what do you think?
It looks like a classic Hollywood crash to me.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder they use the fruit stand on TV all the time. It looks awesome, and from this angle, it looks like it made it through easily.
Yeah, but look at it from the back. I mean, the hood clearly crushed from the impact.
Yeah, you know what? There's no way that car would be able to continue the chase in the shape that it's in.
So this one's busted?
Yeah, busted.
Busted.
Okay, we're at 10 miles an hour.
We are now doing the speed turn at 50 miles an hour with an evenly balanced load, which in the movie they thought would make the bus tip over.
Okay, we're at 20.
If it doesn't, the myth is cleanly and beautifully busted.
Okay, at 30 miles an hour.
It seems so peaceful, you know, you can't hear anything.
45 miles an hour.
Just a bus approaching. No sign of the impending mayhem.
50 miles an hour.
Here comes chaos. Beautiful!
With one expertly executed stunt, Jamie jumps back to #1 on Adam's affection chart. But there was no 50-mile-an-hour flip.
That's frustrating, I tell you what, because I gave it everything I could, and that bus just wouldn't roll.
Just to make sure, Adam suggests Jamie tries again.
Copy that, I'm on my way.
Oh, that's an excited Heinemann. You hear that? We don't hear that often around here.
So it's round 2, and adrenaline junkie Jamie once again hits the turn at top speed.
That's pretty much it as far as I'm concerned.
Again, there was plenty of rock, but no roll. And with that, it's back to the shop to make the call.
Well, Hollywood got at least part of this right. With all the passengers on the inside of the bus turn, that bus made that turn at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, but you know, the real question here was about what would have happened if they hadn't moved.
Right, and in that case, when we readjusted the weight, it still made the turn, and so the myth is busted.
I agree, it's busted, but, you know, we can't leave it there.
No, we can't. I want to make this bus obedient, and I want to make it roll over for us. Any ideas?
Yeah, you know, I was looking at that bus, and I really want to RC it. You know, that'd be one heck of a thing.
That's perfect. Let's flip it. We have to remote control this bus, and as we found out on Drive Shaft Pole Vault, RCing a vehicle can be devilishly difficult, especially the translation from small joysticks to big movements of cars driving around.
What the hell was that?
In this case, we're doing something entirely different. We are doing a 1-to-1 remote control, what's called a Waldo in the industry, to the bus. To wit, This will be our remote control steering for the bus.
This is going to be hysterical.
We're going to have a switch for brakes and a switch for throttle because it's either all on or all off. And this will be our steering. It'll allow us to really finesse this thing, hopefully. I think all I need now is a cup holder.
Meanwhile,
Well, that's not a good thing.
Jamie has the tricky task of mechanically translating the information from Adam's remote control rig to the bus itself. But true to form, our mustachioed maestro comes good.
So I think I've got it all set. If you'll take the controls, I'll go watch the rig, all right?
Awesome, sure.
Okay, go ahead and bring it all the way to the right.
All the way to the right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say it's a pretty sharp turn.
This is awesome. We could have so much fun with this thing.
Cary, Grant, and Tori are taking on tall tales of Hollywood crash cliches. And after the car was busted from a fruit stand drive-thru, so was the myth. Next up, it's the old chase scene gate crash. The question is, would it really fly off the hood like so much set dressing? Or would there be real-life repercussions? One thing's for sure, this isn't a film prop. It's steel, it's heavy, and most importantly, the guys have rigged it realistically.
You got the nuts?
I do.
These chain link fences are pretty sturdy, and especially the gate section of the fence. I think it's going to do some serious damage to the car.
The things that we're looking for from this crash are, is the car drivable after it bangs through the fence? And does it look like Hollywood? I really, really doubt the part where it's going to look like Hollywood. I don't think it's just going to go pink and you're going to be able to drive through. I think I'm going to go with busted on this one.
All right, let's wreck this thing.
Okay, this is Hollywood gate crashing test. In 3, 2, 1, go!
20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, 40, 50 miles, 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour!
On first impressions, there's only one conclusion.
That was so Hollywood!
I gotta say, that was great. Just like in the movies. Car comes up to the gate, crashes through it, and just keeps on going. The gate totally exploded.
That was beautiful. I didn't expect that at all.
We were looking to see if this was going to look like Hollywood, and it looked like Hollywood. The gate just bust right open. I was wrong. I'm totally excited about that.
Yes, it was the perfect example of a Hollywood gate crash. It flew open, and the car appeared to breeze through unharmed. Or did it?
Let me tell you, if I was an action hero, having the airbags go off and the horn keep going would be pretty annoying. It would be very distracting while you were driving.
Distracting, impractical, and dangerous, but as Grant proves, it's still drivable.
Doesn't handle as well as it used to, huh?
Not the smoothest ride, but it still works.
So, where does that leave us?
Well, runs.
Yeah, I don't want to call it confirmed because the airbag deployed.
Well, what if we call it plausible because a lot of older cars don't have airbags?
Good point.
Well, it looked like Hollywood, and you could still drive the car. This one's plausible.
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 Before the Hollywood car crashes continue, the car carnage is now taken to great heights.
All right, you guys, what's next?
This one is going to be big. We are dropping a car from 4,000 feet.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So what's the myth?
Well, it's from a car commercial, but basically, there's a helicopter suspending a car at 4,000 feet. 4,000 feet below, there's a giant X.
Oh yeah, I've seen this one. And there's a second car that's on the ground that's also 4,000 feet away from the X. And it's going at top speed, and they give a signal to the helicopter to release the other car, and then it's a race to see who gets the X first.
So what happens?
Well, the car racing on the ground reaches the X a split second before the falling car.
Wow, that's going to be spectacular. And there's a lot of questions to be answered to find out what exactly is going to happen.
Proving that sexy science sells, this slick commercial uses gravity and terminal velocity to showcase a luxury product. Traveling at its top speed of 142 miles per hour, the car in question competes with a second falling vehicle in a 4,000-foot race. The result? Well, the commercial claims the car kicks gravity's butt. But is this ad fact or fiction?
All right, so will the car driving at top speed, 142 miles an hour, over 4,000 feet, beat the car falling from the helicopter 4,000 feet above the X? Which car is going to beat which?
I think that depends on a number of factors. For example, will the car fall flat like it does in the commercial?
Yeah, that's important because drag and surface area is going to determine how fast that car falls.
Exactly, and I want to know exactly what the chances are of a car hitting an X from 4,000 feet.
Well, before we go to full scale, why don't we get a couple cars, drop them from a crane, and see what they do?
You know you're onto something big when your small scale involves dropping cars from a crane.
But before the fender bending begins, let's bend your brains with some background info. An object's top speed, its terminal velocity, is reached when gravity is equaled by drag. And thanks to a previous parable about parachuting, the team know that how an object falls is a crucial component in shaping its terminal velocity. Which means the way the car falls through the air will dictate the course of this myth.
So we are back at the Teichert Aggregates Vernalis plant, which is the very same location where we almost flew our bamboo ultralight for the MacGyver special.
That was sick! It almost had flight! That's our crane? No way!
Bigger than I thought.
So this myth is going to require us to drop a car from 4,000 feet in the air. Now before we do that, we just want to get an idea of what we're getting ourselves into. So Hatton Crane has lent us the largest mobile hydraulic crane in all of California. It can extend over 400 feet in the air. We're going to drop a few cars and see how they fall.
It doesn't get any simpler than that.
Hey, dollar, sir, dollar?
With the same rig as the commercial, they'll be lifting each of their test cars and dropping them.
That is one big crane.
I know.
And in case you're wondering why the guys are focusing on the fall, here's Grant.
Now, how the car falls in air is really critical to this myth. If it falls flat like it does in the commercial, there's more drag, which means it takes longer for the car to get to the X. Okay, we're live. If it falls nose first, that means there's less drag and it takes less time to get to the X, and this myth will probably be busted.
Take it up to the position we're going to drop from.
I think that this myth is extremely complicated. I have a hard time believing that a car is going to drop smoothly to the ground horizontally and another car is going to smoothly be able to meet it at one point.
The realization of what we're about to do just set in.
I just think that there's so many factors involved. We're going to see a little more like this.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah! Oh my! Oh, look at that! It's going down! Oh my God! What a rush! Did you see how it went nose down?
Yeah, it started out flat and then it started to turn.
It's only going to keep going from there.
Oh! Wow!
Dang! That was sick. Now, I know this is not about the crash. It's about how the car falls, but that was a spectacular crash.
Yep, and the result couldn't be clearer. Unlike the commercial, this car tipped forward and parked itself nose first in the quarry.
Whoops. Did we get the rental insurance on this?
That looked actually quite similar to the commercial for about the first 50 feet. And then it all started to go wrong. You see the car just dipping down, and then at the end, it looked very unlike the commercial.
So after just the first test, the myth is looking like it's been dropped from 400 feet. But the team isn't given up yet. Not with 2 more cars to destroy.
Should we reset for another one?
Yeah, we get to do it again.
All right. So we do a test?
We don't want to start right off the bat doing the whole enchilada, because when this system is fully operational, it's full throttle with the brakes off. And we want to start a little softer than that. So I'm going to be in the bus for this test run, and I'm going to have the brakes and the throttle myself.
Keep in contact with me on the radio.
Okay.
I mean, you know, even just to go, ah, like that.
Okay. Well, Adam is getting used to the steering.
Radio's on.
And then we'll incrementally ramp it up until we go for the whole thing. Go.
And what do you know? Adam, sitting in the back of the pickup truck,
I gotta tell you, this is quite a nice way to drive.
Is successfully steering the bus from 100 feet behind it. Well, mostly.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I was overcorrecting there.
Okay, well, let's try and do a full throttle run, because the real proof is in how well you can keep it on a straight line at full speed. Over.
That right there was a phenomenally successful test of the systems.
45.
This really, I think, heralds in an entirely new era of remote vehicle control for Mythbusters. This rig right here, we're not breaking this thing down. We're gonna hang it from Jamie's ceiling and label all the parts. Next time we gotta RC something, this is how we do it, because this is awesome. I gotta say, there's no better way to steer, man. This is like the Cadillac.
Does it feel disorienting, like you want to see this thing turn?
Well, there's an interesting phenomenon that when the driver is correcting, I find I naturally, as the car moves, steering in the direction that it moves. I have to resist that. But as far as keeping it on track, it's just feathering it is beautiful.
So now that the guys have control of the bus from a safe distance, it's time to ensure it tips.
The whole thing about this myth is it's about center of gravity. Keanu, in the movie, perceived that a balanced center of gravity wouldn't be enough to keep the bus from tipping, so he moved the center of gravity inward. Now we've got to unbalance the center of gravity enough, with enough weight and enough features, to get that bus to go past its CG in the middle of that turn and tip over.
What are we doing to make this bus tip? Let's have a look. We've shifted all our barrels, which are our surrogate people, to the outside of the turn. We've added 4,000 pounds of steel to the roof to make it top heavy. And finally, to put the nail in the coffin, we put a valve on this side of the bus on the air shocks, and we're going to dump the air, dropping the bus on this side, bringing all that weight over center, and over goes the bus.
It's lopsided, top heavy, and in the middle of a right-hand turn, the shocks on the left will suddenly fail. Those three physical features should favor a spectacular flip.
It's in gear, it's all powered up.
All right, let's go, my adrenaline's pumping.
But with a test of this scale, anything could happen.
All right, here we go. Taking off the brake and putting on the throttle on full. It's now or never. Throttle did not engage. Repeat, throttle did not engage.
Including a failure of the throttle control. But Jamie, moving quicker than we've ever seen him on Mythbusters, jumps aboard, manually overrides the system, and puts the pedal to the metal. However,
the brake's not working.
Now the brakes won't disengage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there.
But Jamie's on a mission. Our man of action, back aboard, takes off the brakes, but with the throttle full on, the race is on.
Quickly, quickly.
Fortunately, the truck has enough power to catch up. And once back in range, the steering is still working.
That's a good distance.
Despite the improvised and chaotic start, the test is still on track.
Holy crap, this is almost as much of an adrenaline rush as when I was driving it. Here it comes.
Here it comes. And there she goes. The full flip at 50. And here's a classic understatement.
Yeah! Woo! That's cool!
You could say the boys are happy.
Woo, that was more satisfying than anything we've done in a long time.
How about that for a little kind of last-minute improvisation? So put the bus on full throttle and run.
That's what I was thinking you'd probably do.
That was something else in the start. I was getting tired of all this messing around with radio bugs. This servo wasn't working, that servo wasn't working, so hit the switch for full throttle, and then I ran, hoping that I could make it back to the pickup before this thing got out of range. And it actually worked. Okay, go! It was a little gutsy, but hey, no guts, no glory.
Careful viewer would notice that I was a lot quieter on this run driving the bus remotely than I was when I was inside the bus. And honestly, that's because this one, remote control, one-to-one rig, having 2/3 of it fail. The only thing that was still working was the steering, and it turns out that's all we needed. Can you tell my adrenaline is still pumping? Is everybody okay in here? Wow, it's like an action movie, dude.
Yep, and this action movie myth, much like the bus, is busted.
So we've RC'd buses, cars, trucks.
I think it's time we RC a big military vehicle.
How about an airplane? Ha! What's on the menu?
Oh, today, monsieur, I have an explosive dish that is a fusion between several elements, and it smells slightly of burnt motor oil and singed steel. I present to you the compact.
Well, there were a few problems with the first one, so I wouldn't mind giving it another go.
That is precisely the attitude that makes this dish delicious.
This grisly, fatal fable is an all-time fan favorite. After two truck and trailers collide head-on on the highway, the resulting wreckage is supposedly fused together, hiding a pancaked compact car. But back in season 3, not a whole lot went right.
Oh no!
There were runaway trucks, unilateral crashes,
There goes the car.
and crucially, a mistimed compact impact.
It wasn't quite right, but I don't think we can reset.
Actually, despite it taking 3 years, yes, we can.
What exactly are we doing different this time?
Well, the fans contend that last time we did this, we didn't get the fusion or pancaking we were looking for because of a couple of screw-ups on our part. The main one being timing, that the two semis did not hit our compact car at precisely the same moment.
And they really should have been going faster. I mean, 35 miles an hour. We just need to tune things up a bit.
I think both of these problems are solvable.
Well, let's get out there and do it.
Okay.
So it's back to the scene of the original myth demeanor.
Let's get started.
Where these two old rust buckets, the trucks, not Adam and Jamie, are being prepped for their head-to-head. The guys will be using a similar setup from season 3, so they're up and running quickly. To ensure a simultaneous hit on the car, the two semis will be towed by cables of exactly the same length. Plus, an additional set of pulleys will mean the tow trucks have all the room they need to pull the semis at highway speeds.
You like that? Look good?
Solid as a rock.
You're right on target.
And with the cable laid and the trucks and trailers rigged,
Hot damn, I love cutting steel.
it's time to meet the meat in the sandwich.
This is our compact car that's going to be even a little more compact in a little bit.
After this experiment, its resale value will be exactly 0. So it's an opportunity too good to pass up.
That's the last thing this car will ever do.
And with the dead car driving dressed for its catastrophic date with two trucks, Jamie and Adam add our understandably reluctant drivers. Next, the tow trucks arrive, and once they're hooked into the system,
This is the last link in the chain. That's it.
the guys are almost done. But after a long day, tempers fray over the final detail, the breakaway rope.
When everything crashes together, this snaps and keeps these guys from being pulled up short.
But if it's not strong enough, it may snap too early, and the semis become runaways.
Jamie, I think this blue rope's going to hold just fine.
I don't know. I think we should double it up.
All right, then it's on you. I don't want to, but if you want to do it.
After an off-camera discussion, they decide not to double up, but to go with 3 rather than 4 lengths of rope. And once that's done, they're good to go.
We have about a mile of cable. We've got 2 ancient trucks that are about to fall apart on their own.
All right, Mark and KC, will you start your engines, please?
We've got rope, we've got pulleys, we've got shackles every which way, and somehow all of these things have to hit dead on at the same time.
All right, guys, let's start rolling nice and smooth at first, and then the route we planned.
The probability of this actually happening, it's really kind of low when you think about it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Despite Jamie's pessimism, the early signs are good.
You guys are in perfect formation. Everything's going beautifully.
But as it turns out, this experimental glass really is half empty.
What?
They're both running away.
We have a runaway truck.
Yes, the truck from the Alameda end of the runway is rolling away towards Frisco Bay.
So they're gonna go into the water.
No. Yes!
Now that would have been an interesting call to the authorities.
Damn it!
The San Francisco truck doesn't flirt with the same level of disaster. It simply destroys a chain link fence.
The rope went.
Well, Jamie, looks like you were right. Let's go tie more rope.
Yep, it was the breakaway rope all right. And in a show of professionalism, Jamie resists the urge to say, "I told you so," at least out loud.
The weakest link in this chain was the breakaway rope, and that's what we wanted it to be. Now, exactly how strong does that have to be? It's really kind of a guess, and we guessed wrong. We need to put more rope on there.
No.
All jokes aside, the guys get into salvage mode to assess and fix the damage.
Hey, Jamie, the steering rig on this one needs repair too.
And like the well-lubricated team they are, they soon have both trucks ready for another run. But the light beats them to it.
It's good, isn't it pretty? Let's go!
It's too late, it's too dark. No high speed, no truck crash. We're gonna have to do it early tomorrow morning.
All right.
Go!
Cary, Grant, and Tori are taking on a tall tale from the world of advertising. They're asking, does the science in a popular car commercial stack up in the real world? Will the car dropped from the sky fall flat and accurately? And would the car on the ground beat the falling car in a race over 4,000 feet? But so far, it's not looking good.
Did you see how it went nose down?
It turns out falling cars don't fall flat like they do on film. At least this one didn't.
Now what we're going to do is take up another car over 400 feet, drop it again. This way we have a bigger sample size. Let's take it up. I know it seems a little gratuitous, but I mean, it's for science, so it's worth it.
The gathering of observable, repeatable phenomena, you know, science,
It's like a 2-ton kite.
has never been so much fun.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Look at the car!
Once again, it was a four-wheeled nose-diving missile with no hint of the flat flight from the commercial, which has got the guys thinking. Maybe they need to match the myth more accurately.
So we're wondering, why did the cars fall nose first? Well, as it turns out, most of the cars that are at the budget end of the spectrum, the kind that we can afford to drop from a crane, have most of their weight front of center. So it actually makes sense that they'll fall nose first.
Look at that!
Wow.
It's big, like a 7. But this isn't busted yet. Luxury cars, like the ones in the commercial, have a 50-50 even weight distribution. Now, they're engineered that way to give you a smoother ride. The clunkers we're dropping are more like 60-40. So maybe if we have a 50-50 even weight distribution, we'll get a nice flat fall.
That looks good. That looks really good.
What the team have done is load this car's trunk with enough junk to give it the same balance as the luxury model in the myth.
You should try more fiber in your diet. All right, let's take the car up. Now that we're using a car just like the one in the commercial, we picked it up with one try and it's already sitting level. I love this job.
So here we go. Will the car fall flat and get this myth back on track?
3, 2, 1, go!
Did you feel the shockwave?
Yes! Go! This drop couldn't have gone smoother. We dropped a car with 50-50 weight distribution, and it fell completely horizontal.
Look how flat it is.
Now, that doesn't mean when we drop it from a helicopter at 4,000 feet that's going to happen, but at least so far, the myth is looking pretty good. There might be some truth in this one.
Okay, so what's next?
Full scale it is.
Yep, let's get out to the desert and start dropping cars from the helicopter.
Well, first we need to find 2 luxury cars that are balanced just like the ones in the commercial because we've seen how crucial that is.
Right, because if the falling car doesn't fall flat like it does in the ad, it'll have less drag and it could fall quicker, which would be bad news for the myth.
Right, and we also have a lot of work to do on the ground car to remote control it.
What? You mean I don't get to drive this car?
Nope. To do this safely, the car will be in the remote control hands of Grant, our resident joystick junkie.
He's starting to move up in the world. I do love a luxury car.
In order to get the car to the X, I only need 3 controls. 1, steering, obviously, just to make sure you get to the X.
Needs to come up just a hair.
2, throttle, to make sure I'm going the right speed.
Ha! Perfect.
And finally, brake.
So with Grant's fake feet fitting like a glove,
Perfect. It's like a glove.
and his robo-hands pointing in the right direction, the next step is to get eyes on the prize.
Now, another big challenge is getting to the X. Remember, I'm not going to be anywhere near this car. I'm going to be over 4,000 feet away, so I won't be able to see where the car's going.
Yeah, I look taller on TV.
That's why I've got a small camera that's going to be mounted to the hood, and that's going to transmit a signal to wherever I am controlling the car. And that camera's going to look at a line that we're going to carve in the desert that leads all the way to the X.
The remote controls aren't the only gadgets Grant's been geeking out over. He's also brought in the guys from Duotron to make sure the drop car is balanced exactly like the one in the commercial, which is achieved after Tori adds a little extra trunk junk.
Well, there's one way to get back at your ex.
Then, with Grant fitting a long-range radio unit, the final piece of the RC puzzle is in place, and the guys are ready to hit the desert and plunge into Mythbuster history. Adam and Jamie have been waiting for 3 years to revise and supersize.
They're gonna go into the water.
No. Yes!
The myth of the compact. But so far, it ain't looking good.
Well, you know what I always say. Failure is always an option. Our 2 trucks decided to go sightseeing yesterday, but we've got them back on the line. They're back and ready for duty, and in a few minutes, we're gonna try the smashy again.
And while Jamie ensures their breakaway rope doesn't break away prematurely, Adam makes an installation piece of his favorite motto.
Well, this may look like a half a sentence. In fact, I've written the other half of this sentence a mile away, and yet, for a fleeting second, this sentence will be whole prior to the ultimate destruction of the concept. It's mind-blowing!
What's really mind-blowing is that 3 years and 1 reset later, the guys are ready to rock and roll for real.
This is for real. We have been trying to determine if 2 semi-tractor trailers hit each other head-on at highway speeds and there happens to be a car between them, will they, 1, smash that car as flat as a pancake? All crew, this is not a drill. We are going to go. And 2, become fused together so that they cannot be separated. Tow trucks on my mark. Start rolling in 3, 2, 1, roll. And away they go. We tried this 3 years ago, and we kind of succeeded. We tried it yesterday, and we pretty much failed. Today, we're hoping to answer this question once and for all. Come on, jump to Papa.
At 1,000 feet from impact, they hit 20 miles per hour, and there's no snapping, breaking, or shearing of ropes or cables.
So far, so good.
At 35 miles per hour and 500 feet to impact, it's quite obvious how much tension the system is under.
It's all good.
Well, they're really smoking.
Wow, that's awesome. I think this is gonna happen.
40 miles per hour and 250 feet. Here we go.
Well, this is definitely the point of no recovery. They're going too fast.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna work. Are they gonna hit at the same time?
Wow.
There was no like, ooh, there's a car in the way. There was just a merging of two giant pieces of steel.
That was a magnificent test, everyone. That worked freaking perfectly!
If I was a different kind of person, I'd hug you right now.
The relief of finally pulling it off is obvious, and the immediate signs from their distant vantage point are looking good for the Myth. The timing at full speed looked perfect. The trucks appear to be smooshed into one, and there's no sign of the car.
All right, let's go look at the carnage.
Okay.
Before Carrie, Grant, and Tori demob to the desert for car drop chaos, they've got 2 more Hollywood crash tests.
That was so Hollywood!
Next, they test a scene from one of Tori's favorite movies, Mad Max. As an RV stalls across the highway, a cop car punches clean through it, able to continue its high-speed pursuit.
Now, I don't want to call Grant a prima donna, but he's been asking for a trailer for a long time.
Stop! Now I can finally say, I'll be in my trailer.
You better enjoy it, because he's not going to have it for long. Yeah. With all these myths, we're looking for 2 things. We want to see if, in fact, these crashes do look like they do in the Hollywood movies, and after they're done crashing through whatever it is we're going to crash them through, will they continue to run like they do in the movies? Mr. Imahara, you're wanted on set. Grant? Grant? God, I did not want to see that.
So, just like the movie, the car and caravan is stalled across the highway, and there's just time for a quick prediction.
What I think is, in reality, we're going to see that car run into the frame of the RV, and that trailer's just going to go boom. It's not going to punch through like you see in the movie. Don't want any unnecessary explosions. It's just gonna hit it and push it, and there'll be a lot of destruction. Well, everything's good to go. You guys ready to see what happens in real life?
Yeah. How do you feel about us using your trailer?
You're not gonna hurt it, are you?
It should be fine.
Yeah, no problem.
This is trailer destruction. In 3, 2, 1, hit it.
10, 20, 30, 40.
There it comes.
Yeah. 60. 70 miles an hour. My trailer! Yeah!
Yeah, there was nothing Hollywood about that. That was simply a car wreck.
We completely destroyed that trailer. There was no hole punch. It was goodbye to the trailer.
It is pretty flat.
That's why we can never have anything nice.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll put it back together.
Grant's days as a pampered TV star have gone up in smoke.
Crashes and fire. This is awesome.
The trailer is trashed, and the conclusions are quick to follow.
That was a very spectacular crash, but it wasn't like in the movie where they just punch a clean hole through and keep going. And the car, it's not drivable, and they're definitely not continuing their chase.
That was awesome. The car hit the chassis, and the trailer pretty much disappeared. But this myth is busted on both accounts. Not only did it not look like the Hollywood stunt, but the car was not drivable after the crash. So, busted on both accounts. What the f was that? Oh, your banana, Mr. Imahara. Sorry it took me so long.
Wow, just about sums it up, because the guys have succeeded at what has to be one of the trickiest tests in Mythbuster history.
You could read it. Failure is always, I don't know, something. No longer an option, I guess you would say.
From a mile apart, they've managed to smash 2 semi-trucks head-on.
Let's go look at the carnage.
Okay.
And hit simultaneously from either end what is now a very compact.
The airbag went off.
It's shorter.
Wow.
Yep, that's some serious car carnage. But after the shock wears off...
Oh my God, look, it's Buster.
Yeah.
The serious analysis can begin.
The high-speed camera shows us that both trucks were traveling at about 50 miles an hour when the impact occurred. Now, that's equivalent to a single impact going into a solid wall at 100 miles an hour. That's a heck of an impact, and in case you don't believe that, we're in one truck. That's the cab of the other truck. Think about it.
So the first of the fans' concerns has been fulfilled.
This is just shocking.
The trucks were traveling at highway speeds just over 50 miles per hour.
It's clear they hit pretty square on the back and front, but that when everything had to move in some direction, this squeezed out and spun around.
And the reality is, to expect a couple of vehicles like this to accordion straight on and square and not slide off to one side or the other, that's a 1 in a billion chance. I mean, you've got pivots, you've got all sorts of mass that is flying. It just wouldn't happen.
So no hidden pancaked compact. And as for part 2 of the equation...
There was a heck of a lot of energy in that impact, but no fusion.
Yep, it's a big old mess with truck parts where they shouldn't be. But like Jamie said, there's no sign of the mythical fusion.
It doesn't get any neater than that. I mean, we increased our speed over the first time we tried this experiment by 35%, and we got a perfect head-on collision.
Neat's not really the word I'd use, but the trucks aren't fused together. I still see the car. Not looking too good for the myth.
No, it's not.
So like our reluctant truck drivers, the myth is looking battered, bruised, and broken. But the guys aren't ready to call it just yet. After all, this story didn't get the supersized epithet for nothing.
You know, even with all the explosives and guns and stuff we play with, what frightens me the most?
No, what?
Going on the highway. And everybody does it.
Cary, Grant, and Tori have already tested 3 crash cliches. The 4th and final test involves an unwanted car improvement. The classic instant convertible.
I've seen this crash a million times on TV shows and movies. Car chase is happening, semi-truck comes across the intersection at just the wrong time, car's about to careen into it, but everybody ducks. They get back up after the car's gone out the other side, and now they're in a convertible.
In the real world, my feeling is you're gonna hit the trailer, it's gonna smash the windshield, it's gonna rip the top off, and pretty much kill whoever's driving it.
Perfect. So once again, what we're looking for is, does it look like it does in the movies? Stop, stop. A clean slice all the way across. And second, is the car drivable? Could they continue the chase?
A little more.
If neither of those things is working, then it's busted.
Park it.
And with everyone,
Get in there.
including an unfortunate Buster, in position, the final filmic fender bender can get underway.
10, 20, 30, 50 miles an hour, 60, and 70.
What's on the other side of that berm?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed. The remote braking system fitted for each test seems to have failed.
Oh my God.
My God.
Dang, that was crazy. Look at the roof. The roof's underneath the truck.
I I know, it turned into a convertible. I can't believe it jumped the berm.
And if we slow down the shot, you can see the car launch up the dirt bank and into the wild blue yonder. But luckily, there was no one to hurt and nothing to damage back there.
Oh my God!
Oh, that is a convertible! It worked!
And with the relief comes the results.
Oh my God! Dude, it ripped the roof right off.
I gotta say, that's pretty good.
It looked like it kept driving and it turned into an instant convertible. And he looks like he's all right down in there.
Now, what you see here is the result of the braking system not quite fully deploying. So there's a little hill at the end of our track, and apparently the car went vertical and jumped over the hill. So it's difficult for us to determine exactly the nature of the damage of going underneath the trailer versus hitting the berm, but safe to say that this one is at least plausible.
Any doubt is dispelled with a look at the footage. They did indeed have an instant convertible. And for an instant, it appeared to be drivable, at least judging by the speed it was going.
Plausible.
Plausible.
Possible.
Now, how the hell are we gonna get this car out of here?
You just throw it back over the fence.
Look at that perfect timing. They hit the car at the same millisecond at highway speeds. I don't see any pancaking and I don't see any fusion.
Well, those are the circumstances, the myth, but we need to know what it would take to achieve pancaking and fusion.
I'm kind of at a loss to figure out how to amp this up to the next level, man.
Rockets!
Have you got a place to do this with rockets?
Yep, I got exactly the place. We got plenty of room, everything we need to do the job, New Mexico tech.
I'm in, let's do it.
The Energetic Materials Research and Testing Center is quite simply a big boom center of excellence. And here's a sentence you don't hear every day. After a quick hands-on tour,
we gotta get one of these.
Jamie and Adam get stuck in preparing 2 rocket-powered sleds. And here's Adam to tell us exactly how it'll work.
So our soon-to-be compact will be resting against a 1-inch thick steel plate representing the first of the 2 trucks. The second truck will be pushed along a track by the 2 rocket-powered sleds. The first sled, or stage, will launch with about 75,000 pounds of thrust, and by the time it gets to the halfway point, we'll be traveling at almost 400 miles per hour. At that point, the second stage will fire, and when it smashes into the car, it will be going almost 700 miles per hour.
And with both sleds prepped, the team heads up to the straight-track rocket roller coaster, where you could say the boys are excited.
This is amazing. Where else are we going to find an Empire State Building-sized piece of track? What is this track, about 1,000 feet?
Yep.
Where we can race things at the speed of sound. What do they use it for?
High velocity testing of warheads, penetrators, explosive devices, that kind of stuff. Right where I'm standing is the impact site. This is where our little car is between a rock and a hard place.
With the site surveyed, the guys go to work. First, they slide both sleds onto the track.
There we go.
That's good.
Oh, you don't want to help?
Then they dress the impact zone and compact to be compacted with the all-important grid reference for the high-speed camera.
Everything gets stripes. It's all data.
Next, the steel plates, playing the part of the trucks, get into costume.
I know everything's got to be a part twisted metal in a few minutes. I'm not stupid. You think I'm stupid?
Good. That's perfect.
But I think that even inanimate objects need a motivation, which is why I've drawn a truck on either side of the equation so that the car knows what's coming.
Last but not least, the rockets.
So this is the 5-inch HVAR motor. This one is probably about 55 years old. And if you take a whiff, there's nothing like the smell of rocket propellant in the morning.
I knew you were going there.
Each of these rocket sleds will have 12 of these 5-inch HVAR rockets, which stands for High Velocity Aircraft Rockets. They're Korean War vintage rockets. They put out about 6,300 pounds of thrust each, and each one weighs about 80 pounds. At their peak on a sled, they'll put out 75,000 pounds of thrust.
So what's the point of all this besides the pure raw fun of it? Well, we determined in the field with the 2 actual trucks that we didn't get a pancaked car. Now we are throwing everything we can at getting a pancaked car. We're going to be hitting the front end of this thing at 700 miles per hour. That's close to the speed of sound. It's backed up against a concrete block that's bigger than my first apartment, and a pile of dirt, and an armor steel plate, and a half-inch steel plate. If this doesn't pancake it, nothing will.
We're all wired up. It's time to leave, huh?
Let's go get in the bunker.
All right.
This thing over here is where we're going to be when the rocket sled fires. Because what's going on there is basically like an explosion. It's just a little slower. In fact, it might even explode for all we know.
This is Compact Rocket Sled. In 3, 2, 1.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori are hot on the trail of a commercial tall tale. Can a luxury car traveling at 142 miles per hour beat a falling car in a 4,000-foot race?
Oh, this is going to be awesome.
We've come all the way out to the Mojave Desert where we have a beautiful expanse of space.
Listen. It's quiet. Too quiet. It's like the calm before the storm.
That we can radio control our car and do our car drop.
Yep, it's the perfect spacious location for loquacious, over-caffeinated Mythbusters.
Can you imagine how crazy this is going to be once we're all set up? You say people go crazy out in the desert. I don't believe it. Grant's going to be remotely controlling a car going 140 miles an hour, screaming down the desert. Carrie's going to be up in a helicopter with a car hanging 4,000 feet in the air. We're going to release that and see which one gets to the X first. That's just a fender bender. We're all good. This is going to be nuts. All right, let's mark out our course.
In the commercial, the car on the ground had a smooth strip of asphalt to haul luxury car on.
Man, it's going to be tough for Grant to control that car.
But out here, the guys will have to settle for a straight-line run on the hard-packed lake bed. And now that the caffeine is worn off, the sun is getting to Tori.
This won't take any time.
10, 20, 100.
You know, they say it's important to stay hydrated in the desert.
Stop! 10.
If you don't have water, they also say that you can survive a long time drinking your own urine. I'm gonna test that myth later on to the smashing cars in the wasteland. They say you go crazy in the desert.
60.
Due to dehydration. Crazy in the...
Stop! That's it. That's the last count.
That was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be.
But they're not done yet.
I feel like I've been here before.
Because next they plow Grant's guideline, and at the end of the line, they lay out the target zone.
See? The desert does make people go crazy.
Meanwhile, back at HQ, in an oasis of sanity, Grant has finished prepping the RC car.
So here's the lowdown on the car. I've got a LoRa long-range radio control system hooked up to controls for steering, throttle, and brake that I can activate from over 2 miles away. I've got a wireless video camera that links up to a remote monitor so I can follow the line all the way to the target. Clearly, this is not your average luxury car.
Clearly, because during a successful systems check, Grant remote controls the steering,
Look, Mom, no hands!
Go faster!
throttle, and brakes, with Carrie in the inaccurately named driver's seat, which leaves one final piece of the puzzle.
Now it's time to move on to the video test. And probably the most important thing is to see if I can see the line that you guys carved in the desert.
This time, Tori's in the hot seat, and he'll be controlling the foot pedals only.
Stand by for video.
Tori, you ready to go?
I am ready when you guys are.
Ready?
Hit it.
Hit it.
It's a great start.
Looks beautiful.
But as Tori closes in on 50 miles an hour, Grant begins to lose control
Okay, he's lost the line.
And the video signal.
Whoa, okay, I'm gonna take the brake
Stop.
I think that test is over.
That was 40 miles an hour. Can you imagine 140?
So the first test didn't go so well.
It got hairy there for a second.
Wanna try it again? Here's your first run. It's like the first time playing a video game.
The problem is the second
Have you been drinking, Grant?
and third tests are even worse.
Grant, you starting to lose control. You all right?
How you feeling?
All right.
Really? Because you look like you're freaking out.
It's no wonder. The whole experiment is riding on Grant being able to pull this off. But after a few pressure-filled, deep-thought minutes, they come up with a solution for the control issue. They raise the camera from the hood to the roof and give Grant a better view of the track.
Okie dokie. Let's give this a shot.
And the results are immediate.
All right, I'm about 60 miles an hour here.
With the higher vantage point, the oversteering is a thing of the past.
That's good.
Oh, man.
But with the video still dropping out, he's steering blind.
Well, that was pretty good up until the video cut out.
Something he can't afford at the test speed of 142 miles per hour.
For some reason, we've got a lot of interference out here on the lake bed. There's an Air Force base not too far from here, so it's possible, all of their radio signals are interfering with our video signal. But whatever it is, we've got to go with the plan B. Now, we've got a helicopter, so it's possible that maybe I can control from inside the helicopter. The key thing here is that the receiver for the video has to be pointed at the car at all times. But I think what I can do is have Tori aim it at the car as we're flying along, make sure I've got video all the time. At least that's the plan.
This demolition derby is all about crushing, crunching, and crashing. But Adam and Jamie are taking it to a whole new level. They're using rockets to find out if, under any circumstances, it's possible to pancake a compact so much you lose it in the wreckage of a two-truck collision. And to do it, New Mexico Tech has lent them their straight-track rocket roller coaster.
Let me spell out for you exactly how this is going to break down. When we push the launch button from the bunker, this back sled fires, pushing this front sled down the track to here, where the front sled's rockets kick into gear and carry it the rest of the way down the track. By the time our sled reaches the end of the track here, it ought to be going 700 miles an hour. It will then leave the track, traveling across 20 feet of open space where it will eventually hit our car. Smack on the nose. Now the car's backed up against that steel plate and that concrete block, and that should simulate our two-truck impact at the speed of sound.
So we've kept you waiting long enough. Let's get down to business.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you mind if I flip the switch?
Go for it.
This is Compact Rocket Sled in 3, 2, 1. Wow! Holy crap!
That didn't mess around.
Oh no! That second stage was a hell of a thing. It was like, whoa, it just disappeared.
Now that was fast. Really, really fast.
That was unlike anything I've seen before. We've seen plenty of rocket launches. I'm used to speed up of a rocket, but when the second stage kicked in, I was thinking, I've never seen anything go that fast. And then I realized, actually, that's correct. I have never seen anything go that fast.
3.
Awesome is such an overused word. But that truly inspired awe.
Holy crap!
And then some.
I don't see anything at the end of the runway anymore.
Nah, no concrete block, no steel plate, no car.
No, nothing.
I see some smoke. I think we should go check it out.
I think so.
Incredibly, the spectacle of the launch is matched by the destruction at the rocket's destination.
Wow, that's a lot flatter than the one out on the runway.
I wouldn't exactly call it flat. It's more like shrapnel.
What an impossibly large amount of force.
There's the 1-inch plate over there.
Yes, this twisted, folded, and all-around mangled piece of metal,
Look at that.
was once a square piece of 1-inch thick steel plate.
I wouldn't have called this. It's a freaking potato chip.
For an encore of all.
Holy crap. This is eating the car up.
And an opportunity to crunch the crucial numbers, Adam and Jamie check out the aptly named high-speed footage.
The results are in. At the moment of impact, our rocket sled was traveling at 948 feet per second, or about 650 miles per hour.
So our goal was to fuse metal and pancake the car. Did we achieve that? What car?
As far as whether or not this test pancaked the car, I have to say between looking at this debris and looking at the high-speed shot, I think we did. I mean, cut to the accident we created out on the runway of the two semi-tractor trailers. And then take a look at this debris. I feel like this debris could hide in between those two trucks. They'd have to be going 30% faster than a commercial airliner. But still, I believe that we successfully pancaked.
Okay, that's the pancaking. But what about the mythical fusing of the two trucks?
So we had this massive impact that was able to throw around about 50,000 pounds, like this block right here. Yet I don't really think that we got anything like a nice clean fusion. That implies a weld, you know, a nice little surface that stuck one to the other. This is more like, you know, a bomb went off.
So this is what it takes to successfully squish a car so small it could be lost inside the wreckage of two trucks. But like Jamie said, there was no fusion, and that means they're not done yet.
If we're going to achieve fusion, we need something that is somehow more controlled than what we got in this case.
The Mojave. It's a spectacular location for a spectacular experiment.
Look, Ma, no hands!
This is gonna be nuts.
If they can pull it off.
Have you been drinking, Grant?
Because Carrie, Grant, and Tori are having problems with the video feed to the radio-controlled car.
Well, that was pretty good up until the video cut out.
So it's time to invoke the Mythbusters' patron saint, the second letter of the alphabet, and its magical plan.
So we've got our plan B, we've got the helicopter. But to be honest, if this doesn't work, it's pretty much game over. There is no plan C.
We're really crossing our fingers here, but we think tracking the car with the antenna in the helicopter and Grant doing a video feed from the helicopter chasing the car might actually get us to the finish line.
You ready, Grant?
Think so.
What's the worst that could happen? You could lose control and the car will flip. Now, the antenna is directional. You can't just hook it to the helicopter and it'll work.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna have to actually hold it and point the antenna at the car as we're following it. So that way Grant gets a signal and he'll be in the back seat remotely controlling the car, looking at the video system, trying to keep it on the line, trying to get it up to speed so we can make it to the X. This is gonna be sick.
In addition to testing the new setup, Grant will be doing a top speed test.
Reminds me of now.
We want to see what the top speed of the car is going to be, because ideally, the top speed should be 142 miles an hour. But this is a desert lake bed, and this is not a smooth road, so that might affect the equation in the end.
Remember, in the commercial, over the race distance of 4,000 feet, the car on the ground was going 142 miles per hour. Our car is capable of the same speed, but can it do it out here? And can Grant control it?
3, 2, 1. Here we go. 50, 65, 72, 80 miles an hour, 90, 97, woo! 100 miles an hour, right on, 105, still on target, 105 miles an hour, 105 miles an hour, nice job!
So we just did our test with the helicopter, and I gotta say, It went great.
Which means we're doing the final experiment, tracking the car from the helicopter. It just keeps getting a little more exciting.
Exciting? Sure. But what about the top speed issue?
Now, before we move on to our final test, there's one more thing I have to do. Because the car only goes 105 miles an hour here on the dry lake bed, maybe because it's so bumpy or whatever, it's not the same top speed as the car in the commercial. So I've got to do a little math and figure out an equivalent distance to start the car so that it compensates for this difference in speed.
And here's how it breaks down. In the commercial, the car is moving at 142 miles per hour over 4,000 feet, which takes 19.2 seconds.
105 miles per hour.
But moving at 105 miles per hour in 19.2 seconds, you'd travel a fraction over
2,950 feet.
So while 2,950 feet is the race distance for the car on the ground,
So this is our new start mark.
the falling car will still be dropped from 4,000 feet. And tasked with taking the car almost a mile in the air is the Sikorsky, capable of lifting 5,000 pounds and reaching an altitude of 16,000 feet. In the chopper world, this puppy is top dog.
All right, this is it. Final experiment. Let's go for the plan.
Okay, well, the speed test went really well. I can hold a steady 105 miles an hour, and I can see the car and control it great from the chopper.
All right, well, I reset the start mark on the course so that it's as if we're going 142 miles an hour.
And I can actually see you guys cross the start line from the big helicopter, and I can trigger the car drop at exactly the same time. And that's it.
Then we'll find out once and for all which car gets to the X first.
Dude, if we can pull this off, this is gonna be insane.
I'll see you at the finish line.
Not if we see you first.
So the team splits into two. Carrie hooks up with the heavy lifting team, while Grant and Tori load up, somewhat nervously, in the chase chopper.
So, the start line has been moved. The car is fully prepped. The helicopter's ready to go. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to go.
You're all buckled in. Good job.
I'm all buckled in and ready to go.
It's a lot to take in, and 100 things have to go right all at the same time for this to go well. But only one or two things have to go wrong, and it goes horribly wrong. So, just gonna take a few deep breaths and make sure my steering thumb is good to go.
Can you really get any cooler than this?
It's a pretty mighty chopper there. Control the car straight down the course and just be in the moment, be in the zen of the whole thing, and make sure I get to the target. All those years of video games are gonna pay off now. Good, Dad? Yeah! Woo! There it goes.
Here we go.
Wow. Oh, this is crazy. That's mighty.
I am so excited about my role in the final experiment because not only do I get to control the car drop itself, I get to see the whole thing in action. I get to see the speeding car with the tracking helicopter. I get to see the car drop and go poof down into the desert.
All right, car is being lifted off the ground. Oh, man.
We're now heading over to the drop zone. We picked up our car.
And now begins the long climb to 4,000 feet.
Okay, we're at 1,000 feet.
Once there, Grant and Tori will assume their start position above the RC car, and the race is on.
2,000 feet and climbing. About 30 seconds from our start position.
See the X?
Yeah, you can still see it. It's tiny.
Okay, we're at 4,000 feet and directly above the target zone. Ready for the drop. Grant, in your own time, start driving.
It's the Mythbusters Demolition Derby. And Adam and Jamie have more than compacted their compact. But where did all this start?
It all started with a myth about two semi-tractor trailers that hit each other on the freeway with such force that they fused together and crunched a car between them that couldn't be found for several days. We tried the experiment full scale a few years ago and didn't quite get it right. We were able to try it again for this episode and got it mostly right, but we still didn't get a car between them and we didn't get them fused together. So we ramped up the speed close to the speed of sound, and while we did get a pancake car, we did not get the fused metal, so we come back to New Mexico Tech, and they're going to show us what fusing metal is all about.
So our dynamite-loving duo are once again the guests of the New Mexico Institute of Mining Technology.
This looks perfect.
We were unable to fuse metal with our head-on collisions, but apparently there is a process by which one can bond metals using an impact, and it's called explosive welding. Unlike the testing we were doing earlier, which is pretty much chaos, explosive welding is a precision process. We're going to take this plate, put it on top of the other at a specific distance, apply explosives in a very precise way, and that'll get the job done.
So essentially, they'll be using 500 pounds of high explosive to literally push the steel plates into each other. And safely hunkered in the bunker, it's time to weld by numbers. And those numbers are
3, 2, 1.
Wow! That was a thud.
That was something else.
It was bigger than I expected from, that innocuous box of white powder that we set up down there.
From that innocuous box of white powder to one of the coolest shots we've ever seen on Mythbusters.
There's the shockwave. I never get tired of seeing that. Look, 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 you can even see the shadow of the shockwave there on the ground.
Looks like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of spraying out all around the ground at the same time as it's shooting up. It's going to be like a potato chip, I think.
You were right, it is a little potato chippy.
I couldn't very well imagine it stays straight like it was to start.
Oh, yeah, if you take a look at the side here, it's quite clear that the total thickness is less than the combined thickness of the two sheets when we started.
Yeah, it looks like it's like clay that's been sandwiched and pressed together and become one.
Just to give you an idea about how much force was involved in that explosion, I'm standing at ground zero of where that explosion occurred. It's about a 3-foot deep crater. And interesting note, this is very similar to the crater that Jamie created when he first came to Earth.
Well, that there was one heck of a lot of destruction and mayhem we created in pursuit of this myth.
I'll say.
Well, where does that leave us?
Well, we proved that it is possible to pancake a compact car.
Although you'd have to go close to the speed of sound to do it.
And we've proven that you can fuse two pieces of steel together.
You need about 500 pounds of high explosive to do that.
And since none of those things happen on any highway or freeway I've ever driven on, I think we have to call this one...
Busted.
Yeah, busted. Again, busted.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori are about to test one of Mythbusters' biggest stories ever.
All right, looks like they're over the X. Yeah, looks good.
And here's Grant with the lowdown on their high-flying car drop experiment.
So this is the main event. This is the final experiment, and here is the setup. I will be in the small helicopter controlling the driving car with a remote control link and a remote video link.
Mine's being now.
Tori will be in the chopper with me, pointing the directional receiver antenna at the car at all times. We'll chase the car down the track as I drive towards the start line. Hit the start line at our top speed of 105 miles an hour. At the same time, Carrie will be in the big chopper, hauling the drop car over to the drop zone.
Okay, we're at 4,000 feet and directly above the target zone, ready for the drop.
When we hit the start line, she'll be over the X, she'll release the car, and then we'll see which one gets to the target first.
And so, with everyone in position, the countdown to counting backwards begins.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Car is away. Car is away. What's the speed, Grant? 45. 45 miles an hour. Looking good. 60 miles an hour.
The stress and practice from yesterday seems to be paying off.
70. Looking great.
Grant and Tori are keeping the car on track, and they're picking up speed nicely.
You're coming into view, Grant. I can see you guys down there.
80. Car's looking good. We're going straight for the X.
You're about 1,000 feet from the start marks.
We're at 95 miles an hour. Stay on target. Looking good, Grant. Looking good.
Stand by.
We're coming up to the mark soon. Okay.
500 feet.
105. Holding 105.
Dropping in 3, 2, 1.
Release the car.
And the race is on.
Here it comes! 105! Holding 105! Here comes the car! Holding 105! Woo! Hit the desert! Target's coming up! Target!
That was spectacular, and the result was there for all to see. Unlike the commercial, the falling car hit the ground more than 2 seconds before the driving car crossed the target. And despite being back on the ground, it's quite obvious the team's adrenaline levels are still sky high.
Okay, I'm not gonna say, like Luke down the Death Star trench.
You drove across the freaking X!
Thank you! But it was like Luke down the Death Star trench until the X comes out. Yeah!
Here it comes. We're in the follow helicopter. The car is going. We're trying to get up to speed. I'm like, Grant, how fast are we going now? We're at 40 miles an hour. How fast are we now? 60 miles an hour. We have to get up to 105. The mark is getting closer. We get up to like 90. We're maybe about 1,000 feet away. We get to 105 miles an hour. We hit the mark. The car's released. And I could see the car falling, and I could see the car driving. And then all of a sudden, it was like, boom, the car falling hits. And then Grant's car goes over the X. We did it.
I was less excited after my first kiss.
So aside from denting the ego of Carrie's first boyfriend, you could say this experiment went spectacularly well.
That's what happens when you drop a car from a helicopter and try to beat it with a car on the ground.
Look at this, the rim is detached from the tire.
And the tire's still standing.
And all that's left to do is head on back to the shop for a rundown of the breakdown.
If we didn't wreck all the cars, we wouldn't have to walk home.
That's true.
Do you have enough water to make it out of that mountain?
No, we'll be dead before we even get to the mountain.
Okay, so how do we call this?
Well, ultimately, I think the fans are going to point out that we didn't use the exact same cars in the commercial, although our cars were effectively identical.
Yeah, and you know what? We're also probably going to get emails saying that we didn't film on the same day as the commercial was, which means the air currents would have been different, which would have given us a different result.
Okay, well, while we can't draw a firm conclusion about the commercial for those reasons, we can say a few things from our data. First of all, our car fell differently. Second, it hit the ground 300 feet from the X. And third, well, it hit the ground before the driving car crossed the X.
In other words, in our recreation, everything was busted.
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 You know what? Assuming that all cars fall in the same way, the only way you'd be able to beat a falling car is if you were to use a Formula One race car.
Okay, so let's get one.
I call driver.
I thought you said it was too dangerous to drive.
No, I said it was too dangerous for you to drive.
Up next, a dead man washes ashore in 3 pieces and police investigate the wife. But how could this beautiful woman do it? And why? Solved next.